wonderful Avelino Valencia. We are so glad to have you here on the podcast this morning. Thanks so much for joining me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm just excited to talk about your background. You're a homegrown Anaheim guy. You attended high school at Catella High School just up the street from here, right?
That's right.
And go Knights.
Go Knights.
As they say. Your college and career took you all over the state. So tell us a little bit about your life and your work and how you ended up in the state assembly.
Sure. As you mentioned, born and raised right down the street from here, attended local public schools, including Catella High School, was very athletic focused in my high school days, played a couple of years of high school golf, and transitioned to playing football my senior year. After that, went on to play football at Fullerton Junior College, and then moved on to play Division I football at San Jose State.
Awesome. And is it true that you also did a little bit of NFL football too?
I did. I like to refer to it as having a cup of coffee. A very quick experience, but one of the most humbling experiences as well. I graduated college 2011, the year, coincidentally, of the NFL football lockout. There was a dispute between the players and the teams when it came to the bargaining agreement. So everything was up in the air. Nobody really knew if there was going to be a season or not. Ultimately, there was, and I got invited to a couple of camps. That did not pan out as intended, but had the opportunity then to come back and then coach at the junior college level for a couple of years, which kept that passion going.
It does seem like the football player to assemblyman path is not the most common path. How did you make the decision to enter politics?
It happened organically, being involved in the community through coaching, getting to know families, and the mentorship component of coaching as well were the catalysts to getting in public service. If it wasn't for the encouragement that those families and community provided me then, I would have never thought twice about getting into public service. But you'd be surprised the similarities between competitive sports and politics. First and foremost, when it comes to it being a contact sport, I would argue that politics is very much in line with the contact that takes place on the football field because of the dynamics that unfold in.
Right, and you always have to be ready and nimble and kind of on your toes to deal with what's coming next.
Absolutely. It may not be physical, but it surely is competitive and contact.
That makes sense. So you were on the Anaheim City Council, speaking of being ready for anything, when there was a corruption scandal that occurred. Can you tell us a little bit about that moment when you learned that these groups had huge influence and sway over some of the city council members and people ended up getting arrested and going to prison? What were your first thoughts as that unraveled?
It was surreal living in that moment, having been newly elected to the Anaheim City Council, having 1 year of service under my belt. And again, like I mentioned, no intention or plan prior to that running for office, coming into a space where there were many interests who were involved in the decision-making of City Hall and Anaheim politics. And when that situation took place, I was happy that I stuck to my good morals and values and doing what was best in the interest of Anaheim. There was a huge corruption scandal that unfolded regarding the sale of Angel Stadium. And there are now folks who are in federal prison because of decisions that they made then.
I can't imagine that when you decided to run and serve that you could think about the possibility of the responsibilities that come with dealing with something like that in your second year.
Yeah, did not expect that to be the case. I assumed the role was going to be geared more towards attending park grand openings and providing services to the wonderful residents of Anaheim. Little did I know that there would be in-depth FBI investigation that was uncovering a huge corruption scandal.
Well, I'm sure that prepared you for really doing important work in the state legislature, right? Because ultimately, those are heavy topics and heavy issues. Yeah. So now we've got Prop 50, and this is arguably one of the most important things that we've seen face California in a long time. All the eyes are on us. They're on California. They're on Orange County. We've become national news. So you were involved in a lot of the work in getting Prop 50 on the ballot. Can you tell me a little bit about behind the scenes, what that was like?
Sure. Our speaker created a working group to focus on the development of these maps, considering the stakes that were at hand. I was fortunate enough to serve on that very small working group, and it was an experience like none other. In conversations with incredible leaders like Nancy Pelosi, constant communication with our DCCC party leader, Pete Aguilar, and also Lofgren, the California congressional leader, to ensure that these maps were going to be equitable more than anything, but also with the hope of passing them to rebuttal what the federal government is pushing.
Why is it so important that we pass Prop 50 right now?
It truly is one of the most impactful votes that Californians can take in recent history to ensure that democracy reigns true in this nation. Californians are proud people. We love this nation, and it's, I think, our civic duty to come out and support this measure. But it really will make the difference long term.
So there's a lot of momentum behind Prop 50, but there still is uncertainty. And I know that when it was placed on the ballot, the legislature, probably was anticipating that there would be doubts and questions about that. What kind of conversations did you guys have about that in the Assembly?
That hesitation, I think, is spot on, and rightfully so, because Californians ensured that elected officials moving forward would not have the ability to gerrymander and create their own maps. I think that is fundamental to democracy so that there is a separation of power. With that being said, when we're put up against a rock in a hard place, we have to rebuttal any way that we can. So when that decision was made, there was some hesitation, but when the temperatures cooled, we realized that this was going to be our only option to rebuttal what's coming out of the federal government.
And how do you respond when folks ask questions about those maps, or they say, we have this redistricting committee, why are you, messing with that at this moment? I mean, what's going to happen in 2030?
Well, we put some parameters in place to ensure that once 2030 comes around, the redistricting commission would take back the ability to create these maps moving forward. I am very passionate about this specific issue. In my first year as a legislator, I actually carried a bill to pass a redistricting commission in the county of Orange to ensure that the local supervisors here did not have that ability. So again, fundamentally, I firmly stand and believe in that ideology and position. But again, when we are dealing with fire, we have to also play.
I agree with you. And when we've been knocking on doors, voters seem to understand that. They understand the principles behind redistricting commission, but they also seem to understand that we are in an unprecedented moment, right?
And ultimately, it's up to the voters to decide whether or not they want these maps to be implemented, one. And two, we ensured that all of the feedback and input that we received throughout the redistricting process was incorporated, evaluated, and then also seen in the development of these new maps. So we could argue that the input that was provided then is also being implemented now. So we feel very confident about it.
For undecided voters, what would you say to them when it comes to this? Any kind of final message to an undecided voter, because the election's in just a few days?
Ask themselves what they want future-wise for this nation. If they are happy with the status quo, regardless of party identification, then they may not feel inclined to support this. But if for whatever reason they're questioning the decisions coming out of Washington, D.C. at this time, this is the tool that we could use to change the direction that this nation is going.
And can you just explain how it does that for somebody who maybe hasn't been in the conversation? I mean, are they adding seats? Are we adding seats? What does it mean?
As of now, the Republicans hold the majority in the House of Representatives, in the Senate, and then, of course, the White House. With this measure being implemented, we will have the ability to elect more Democrats to the House to ensure that there is a balance in the U.S. Congress, and that will help us stop some of the policies coming out of Washington, D.C.
You're one of the youngest people serving in California legislature. What are the issues that are driving young people? What do they care about most?
Well, the overarching issue that's impacting people across the board is affordability. But one of the things that I'm specifically focused on as chair of banking and finance on the Assembly side is the development of blockchain, crypto, and also AI, artificial intelligence.
Can you tell me why that is important to you, and what have you been up to?
Very passionate about crypto and blockchain as a whole. I currently chair the Assembly Committee on Banking and Finance, so that topic is under my purview. And having gone to San Jose State in the Silicon Valley during the time when much of that technology was being developed, I was familiarized with it. And then now, as a legislator, I have the opinion that this technology is here to stay, and it will be fundamentally incorporated into society moving forward. Because of that, I do think that we have to start setting parameters around regulation, then also disclosure. I passed a bill last year that would mandate the disclosure of any crypto holdings or blockchain holdings by an elected official. Since it's considered now a financial asset, I do think that an elected official needs to disclose that if they're going to be making decisions on policy that impacts that space.
Well, let's say what is not being said, which is what are the potential pitfalls of that not being disclosed? I mean, are we worried about undue influence? What are we worried about?
Absolutely. If a space isn't regulated and there are no checks and balances, anything goes. And we're seeing some of that unfold now at the national level, unfortunately. And I think that's in part why there's been some hesitation from the federal government to implement some mandates and regulation that would either foster the industry or also move it in a different direction because people are benefiting.
So if it's happening right now and then people don't want to end that, what are you able to do in California, in the legislature to put an end to that? Is it just the disclosures or what happens next?
What comes next, I think, is government's partnership with that technology. When government involves itself in a certain space, in a way, it also legitimizes, right? And I do think that blockchain has a lot of upside and potential to benefit society. One of the things that I think is gonna impact most is going to be the technology of AI. Blockchain fundamentally, why it was created, was to track every action and transaction on the blockchain. Every time a falsified piece of information is created on AI, at one point AI will be developed on the blockchain, and then we will be able to track that false information on the blockchain to then know that it's not real.
Anybody else doing this in the Assembly?
I don't believe so. There has been some attempts in the past, but I think they were a little ahead of their time or misguided. So I do think that things happen for a reason. Timing often does impact the success of situations, and I think the timing of me getting involved in this space is.
Well, thank you for that discussion, but we're going to turn back to you. You decided to run for an open Senate seat that's coming up next year. And you're in a safe seat right now with 8 years left, but you made the decision to jump. Can you say what you can accomplish in the Senate that you aren't able to do in the Assembly so far?
Sure. Orange County truly is a new place. Past history is evolving, and the new demographic of North Orange County is very emblematic of who I am as an individual. And I think with everything coming out of the national government now, we need a representative who has that lived experience to really challenge and push back on some of these policies. I do believe that any Democrat could do a good job representing this space, but I do think because of the times that we are dealing with, an individual with the lived experience and is from the local community will make all the difference to really elevate the voices of this district.
So talk to the folks who were your neighbors growing up in the community right here and explain to them why they should be voting for you in this upcoming state Senate race.
I'll approach this new role, just like I have my past two roles, with conviction, heart, and dedication. I'll give it my best every single day and do the best that I can for Orange County residents.
Well, thank you so much. We're so grateful that you spent the morning with us.
Appreciate you, Lauren. Thank you.
Thank you. So if you could tackle anybody, and I don't even know what position you played.
Yeah.
But if you could just tackle anybody here in Orange County, who it could be from past, present, or future.
Oh, gosh. That's a good question. I know, right? Or in the Assembly.
Or in the Assembly. It doesn't even have to be in Orange County.
I know.
Take that guy out.
Yeah. Seriously.
Don't answer that.
Oh, yeah.
You take the fifth on that one.
Episode 2.